Okay, so we are continuing our grammar lesson from yesterday. Oh, snickers. Okay, I guess I'm going to reveal the whole slide to you at once. So there you go, you get all your notes all at once. All right, so today, you guys, we are going to talk about adjectives and pronouns. Okay, those are the two parts of speech that we're going to cover today. And then your homework for tonight is that packet that you picked up from the back cube. And I want to see you working on it during class. Otherwise, I'll confiscate it and I'll hang on to it until the end of the day. And then you'll definitely have homework tonight. Okay, so in the packet, you guys only have to do the even numbers. Okay, only the even numbers, and I'll remind you of that. We should have some time to work on it at the end of class here if we can get rocking and rolling. So let's get to it. So adjectives. An adjective is a word that's used to modify a noun or a pronoun. This next point, you guys, is really important. So in your notes, I would highlight it, underline it, star it, something. Okay? Adjectives are going to answer one of these four questions. What kind, which one, how many, or how much. These adjective questions are super important because it helps you determine whether the words you're looking at is an adjective or an adverb, which we'll talk about adverbs tomorrow. So look at these examples. Like famous song. Famous is an adjective telling us what kind of song. So it's answering that first what kind adjective question. This star. This is an adjective telling us which one or which star we're talking about. So it's answering that which one adjective question. $1. One is an adjective telling us how many dollars. Okay, so it's answering that how many adjective question. And then the last one, some music. Some is telling us how much music, answering that how much adjective question. Does that make sense? Okay, so these adjective questions are going to be super, super helpful to you in determining if the word you're looking at is actually an adjective, because if it answers one of these four questions, then you know it's functioning as an adjective in a sentence. Does that make sense? Okay. So there are also these things called articles, which are also adjectives. Okay, the articles are a, and the. Okay, you guys just need to memorize these and you need to know them. Articles a, and the are always going to be adjectives. Also, you need to be aware of proper adjectives. So proper adjectives, they're going to look like proper nouns, okay, which means they're going to be capitalized and they're going to look like they might be a noun, but they actually function as an adjective. So an example of that would be American artist. Okay, American is a proper adjective. It's capitalized. It looks like it could be a noun, but the way that it's functioning in the sentence is actually an adjective because it's telling us what kind of artist. So it's answering one of those adjective questions, what kind. So since American is telling us what kind of artist, American is actually functioning as an adjective. So you just have to be kind of careful and watch out for those. Okay? Questions so far? Making sense? Okay. One final note on adjectives. Possessives, words that show ownership that have that apostrophe S at the end of them, are always adjectives. Possessives are always adjectives. Okay, this is one of those that you just have to know. Possessives are always what? Possessives are always what? Possessives are always what? Okay. All right. Possessives are always adjectives. So here's an example of that. Lisa's coat. Okay, Lisa's is a possessive. It's showing ownership of the coat. It's saying this coat belongs to Lisa. It's a possessive, so it's an adjective. Because possessives are always adjectives. His turnip. His is showing ownership of the turnip. It's saying the turnip belongs to him. Okay, so his is a possessive. So it's an adjective. Same with Juan's car. Okay, the car belongs to Juan. Juan's has that apostrophe S. It's a possessive. It's showing ownership of the car, so Juan's is an adjective. You guys get it? Possessives are always what? Adjectives. Okay, so this is just a really good note about adjectives. It's kind of like your little cheat for adjectives. If it comes before a noun, so if you have a word that comes before a noun, it's most likely going to be an adjective. Okay, if it's not any other part of speech, probably going to be an adjective. The adjectives typically come directly before the word that they're modifying. Okay, so that's kind of like the way you can determine if it's an adjective. If it's coming right before a noun, it's probably an adjective. All right, let's do this some practice here. So on your computers, I would like you to please underline all of the adjectives in the sentence. See if you can find them all. Try to find at least one adjective in the sentence. Let's try to finish in 5. Okay, how many adjectives are in this sentence? Hold them up on your fingers. How many? 3. There are 3, and here they are. You guys, for the most part, got it. Okay, my is one of those possessives. Okay, it's showing ownership of the brother. So my is an adjective. Little is telling us what kind of brother. So that's an adjective. And Chinese is telling us what kind of food. So Chinese is also an adjective. Nicely done. Go ahead and try. Okay. Put your set separately. Go ahead and try this one. I need everybody to try to respond. I can see who's not responding. Okay, why don't you try refreshing and then getting back in? I'm sorry, that last one's a P, not a D. Is that what you guys are saying? I think it's a P. Okay. You can't get in, you gotta come. You can't just sit there and not straight. Okay, how many adjectives do we have in this sentence? Show me on your fingers. Those. We have 2. Okay, we've got 2. Michael's and new. New is telling us what kind of puppy. Okay, so new is an adjective. It answers one of those adjective questions. And Michael's is a possessive. And possessives are always what? Possessives are always what? Adjectives. Okay, so those are the only 2 in this sentence. Oh, I'm so mad. My clicker's not working anymore. Is it out of battery? No. Okay. Let's do the old school way. All right, try this one. You can find all the adjectives. Do you guys get it? Breathe in now. In. Nice and in. Try to finish in 5. Okay, we did pretty good. How many adjectives in this sentence? Oh, I'm seeing a lot of different numbers out there. There's 5. There's 5 in this sentence. And it looks like all of you got at least 1. Okay, so remember, what are our articles again? Who can remind me? Malachi? Yeah, and the are our articles. So how many thes do we have in this sentence? 3. Okay, so you know that you already have 3 adjectives. The, and the. Okay, now we just have to find the other 2. So again, we're looking for words that answer one of those adjective questions that come before a noun. Okay, that come before a noun. So basic is also one of our adjectives. It's telling us what kind of design. It's a basic design. Answering one of those adjective questions, and it comes before the noun design. The last adjective in this sentence is popular. Okay, again, it's answering that what kind. You guys notice that the what kind question is one of the most common adjective questions. Okay, so it's answering that what kind question again. What kind of model is it? It's the popular model, and it comes before that noun model, so popular is our final adjective in that sentence. How did we do? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs sideways. How do we do? Your range. Okay. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see if I can click over here, and my clicker will work. There we go. Okay, we're moving on to pronouns now. So a pronoun is a word that's used in place of a noun, multiple nouns, or another pronoun. Okay? There are 8 different types of pronouns. They all function slightly differently. You will not need to know, you will not need to memorize all of the different kinds of pronouns. We're going to talk about them. But as long as you can just identify pronouns in general, you should be fine. We'll work on memorizing all of the different kinds and how they really function when you guys get to the junior year. Okay, but just know that there are 8 different types of pronouns. So there are a lot of different kinds of pronouns. What are some pronouns that you guys remember? Let me type them up. I got a hair in my mouth. Anybody else have dogs? Or cats? Or furry critters of any kind? Do you ever get their hair in your mask? And it tickles your face or it gets inside your mouth or your nose? Oh. It's the worst. Auburn, do you have a question? Or you're just answering my question? Alright, let's see what we remember here. Heck yes. Hey, way to go! Okay, most of us were able to recall a few. He, she, him, her, it, they, them, us, our, your, yours. Those are all pronouns, right? They're all different kinds of pronouns. So what we're going to do in the next few slides is we're going to talk about the different types of pronouns. But remember, there are 8, just like there are 8 parts of speech. So the first type of pronoun that is the most common, that most of you put down as your pronouns, are personal pronouns. So personal pronouns are going to act as a noun would in a sentence. So they'll either be the subject of the sentence, like I went to the store. Okay, I would be a personal pronoun acting as the subject of the sentence. Or they can be the object of the sentence. So Mason looked at him funny. Okay, so him would be the object of the sentence telling who Mason looked at. And we'll talk about all of that stuff later on. Personal pronouns can come in singular or plural form, and I have that kind of listed right here. So all of these are going to be your singular pronouns, and it's pretty self-explanatory if it's singular or plural, right? The singular pronouns, they sound singular. I, me, you, he, she, him, okay? And then the plural pronouns, they sound plural, like we, us, they, them, okay, right? It's implying more than one person in place of thing. The next type of pronoun is a possessive pronoun, and we saw some of these when we were working on our adjective slide. Jacob, did you have a question?
I think my phone was dead, so
So plug it in. It's right behind the coffee table. So possessive pronouns, you guys, just like possessives when we were talking adjectives, they show ownership, okay? Now you have to be careful with possessive pronouns, you guys, because some of them are going to function as adjectives in a sentence. So you just have to see, okay, is this pronoun, this possessive pronoun, modifying something else? Is it answering one of those adjective questions? So here would be an example. So these are all of the possessive pronouns right here, okay? All of the ones in this column are going to act as adjectives. So here would be an example. My friend. My is a possessive pronoun, but it's functioning as an adjective because it's showing ownership of the friend. It's telling us what kind of friend? Well, it's my friend. Okay? So you just have to be careful with these possessive pronouns because they may be functioning as adjectives because they're sneaky. Does this make sense? So again, just ask those adjective questions. What kind, which one, how many? There's one I'm missing. Kind, which one, how many? What's the one I'm missing? Help me out, look at your notes. What kind, which one, how many, and how much? Was it the other one? Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, let's practice the personal / possessive. So what I want you to do, in this sentence, I want you to underline the pronoun. If it's personal, write PR. If it's possessive, write PO. And remember, if it's possessive, it'll be functioning as an adjective, but for the sake of learning, I want you to underline it. Is it turning on, Jacob? Okay. All right, go ahead and finish up. 5. Okay, everybody got it. What's the pronoun in this sentence, everyone? I said everyone. Everyone, what's the pronoun? They, okay? They is the pronoun. Now we have to figure out, is it personal or is it possessive? So is this they showing ownership of anything in the sentence? It is not. So what type of pronoun does that make this? Personal or possessive? The other one, Mason. Personal or possessive? Personal! Yeah, good job, Mason! It makes it personal, right? Because possessive pronouns, they show ownership. It's like you're possessing something, right? This is mine. I possess it. It's my possession. Okay, that's how you remember. This is also like the best squishy I've ever bought. Isn't it so cute? Like a little dinosaur. What are these kind of dinosaurs called? Like the ring around their head of horns? Does anybody know? I have no idea. I don't remember what they're called, but it's darn cute and it feels amazing. Okay. So this one is a personal pronoun. Okay, it's functioning as a noun in the sentence. It's actually the subject. So that's how we know it's personal. It's not showing ownership of anything, so it's not possessive. Try this one. Wow. Even my projector's on the shred with us today. Okay, try to finish up in 5. Okay. What's the pronoun in this sentence? Everyone. Her. Her is the pronoun. Is it showing ownership of anything? What's it owning? Yes. Her is owning the monologue. monologue. The monologue is owned by her. So if it's showing ownership of something, is it personal or possessive? Possessive, right? Because you're possessing, you're owning the monologue. So is this technically a pronoun? Oh, this is a trick question. Is her technically a pronoun? If we were going to mark all of the parts of speech in this sentence, would we mark that as a pronoun or something else? This is where it gets tricky. Possessives are always what? Adjectives. Okay, so while this is technically a possessive pronoun, it's functioning as an adjective in the sentence because possessives are always what? Santi, possessives are always what? Yeah, they are. Okay, tell me how you're feeling so far. This is just for my eyes. Be honest. Finish with 5. Okay. Nobody needs us to stop, so that's good. We're moving on. Okay, we have a few more types of pronouns to get through. I told you there were 8. We're doing all 8. So the next type sound really fancy. It's really not. It's pretty easy. Okay, they're called reflexive and intensive pronouns. Okay, reflexive and intensive pronouns, they're going to end in self or selves. So here are the examples, like myself, ourselves, yourself, yourselves, etc. Okay, and they form personal pronouns. Now they're called reflexive and intensive because what they do is they actually reflect back on another noun or pronoun in the sentence. So the key with these guys is they cannot be the only noun or pronoun in the sentence. They have to have another noun or pronoun to reflect back on. So you wouldn't just say, myself went to the store. Okay, that doesn't sound right. You could say, I went to the store by myself, because then the myself is reflecting back on the I. Does that make sense? So these always have to have something to reflect back on. That's why they're called reflexive. Okay, so they cannot be the only noun or pronoun by themselves in the sentence. And I'm pretty sure I literally just said all of this. So both reflexive and intensive pronouns, they reflect back on or add emphasis to another noun or pronoun in the sentence. So here's another example. Donna prepared herself for a long day. So herself is the reflexive pronoun. It's reflecting back on the noun Donna. Okay? You couldn't just say herself prepared for a long day because that doesn't make sense. That's not how reflexive pronouns are used. And hopefully you can hear that that just sounds wrong when we say it like that. Okay? It just doesn't sound quite right. So you cannot use these reflexive and intensive pronouns without a noun or a pronoun to reflect back on. So here would be another wrong example. The planning committee appointed Ted and myself. Now I think that this is an example that sounds okay, but it's wrong because this myself doesn't have a noun or a pronoun to reflect back on. You have to have like a me or an I or your name to reflect back on in the sentence since you're using myself. So we would just have to change it to Ted and me instead of myself. Okay, is this making sense? So just basically, just know you don't use these types of pronouns unless you have something to reflect it back on in the sentence. Oh, these are my favorite. First of all, because I love their name, because it kind of sounds like monster. Okay, so demonstrative pronouns, I call these the pointy pronouns. Because when you use them, you can point out specific things like this apple, that desk, these students, right? Those pictures. They're the pointy pronouns. You like point at stuff when you're using them. But you have to be careful because the way that I just used all of them, they're functioning as an adjective because they came before a noun. Like if I say this apple, this is telling me which apple I'm talking about. It's answering the which one adjective question, so it's actually functioning as an adjective. But if I hold it up and I say, this is an apple, then it's functioning as the subject. Okay? So just know, if any of these come right before this, I'm just gonna hold this. If any of these come right before a noun, then they turn into adjectives. Okay, so you just have to be really careful and use those adjective questions. If it answers one of the adjective questions, it's functioning as an adjective. Okay, so you just have to be careful with that. All right, next up. Ooh, these ones are my favorite, but I also think that these are the hardest pronouns because we don't ever think of them when we think of pronouns. So indefinite pronouns, these are pronouns. Wait for it, this is going to blow your mind. Ready? Indefinite pronouns, these are pronouns that are not definite. Mind blown. See where they get the name from? Pretty clever, right? Okay, so these pronouns are not definite, meaning that they don't refer to like a specific person, place, or thing. They're a little more vague than like he, she, we, us, okay? And you can kind of see that they're vague, like both, few, many, everybody, anyone. One way to remember most of the indefinite pronouns, if it ends with one body or thing, it's an indefinite pronoun. Okay, one body or thing. So you can see anybody, anyone, anything, everybody, everyone, everything, nobody, no one, nothing, somebody, someone, something. You picking up what I'm putting down? If it ends in one body or thing, it's an indefinite pronoun. And then of course you have the other random ones in there, like all, any, few, more, some, okay? But just know, indefinite pronouns are not definite because they don't refer to any specific person, place, or thing. They're more vague. So the same rule applies to indefinite pronouns as the demonstrative pronouns, okay? If they come before a noun, they turn into an adjective because they're telling us how many, or what kind, or how much. Okay, so take a look at this example. If we said several students, several is an indefinite pronoun, but here it's describing how many students. So it's answering one of those adjective questions, making it an adjective. You confused yet? Okay, if you're confused, you just have to remember those adjective questions. Okay, if it ever answers one of those adjective questions, it's functioning as an adjective, not a pronoun. If it comes directly before a noun in a sentence, it's probably functioning as an adjective, not a pronoun. Just remember those two rules and you'll be fine. Okay, we're almost done, you guys. These are our last two types of pronouns. So, interrogative pronouns. What does interrogative sound like? Does it remind you of another word? Interrogate. And when you interrogate somebody, what do? You ask them a lot of questions, right? Well, guess what? Interrogative pronouns are used to ask questions. So that's how you remember that, okay? Interrogative, interrogate, used to ask questions. So here they are. These are the interrogative pronouns. Who, whom, whose, which, and what. So you would see them at the start of a question. Like, whose watch is this? What is that thing? Okay? Stuff like that. Relative pronouns are used to introduce a subordinate or dependent clause. And we're going to talk more about clauses, I think, on Friday. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, but hopefully you guys have heard of like dependent clauses, right? They depend on an independent clause to make sense. So if you ever see one of these pronouns in the middle of a sentence, then you know that it's a relative pronoun. It's starting a dependent clause. Okay, so who, whom, whose, which, and that. Notice there's some overlap here. Okay, but these ones are used with questions. These ones are going to come in the middle of a sentence and start a dependent clause. So pick. Who was a spoiled man? Improved his ways later. Who is our relative pronoun? It's starting the dependent clause. Who was a spoiled man? Okay? And again, you don't really have to know like if it's functioning as a relative or an interrogative pronoun. You don't have to know that yet. You'll learn that junior year. For now, I just need you to be able to pick out the pronouns in a sentence. Okay? So as long as you know that this list and this list If you ever see those in a sentence, they're usually going to be a pronoun. You're good to go. Okay? Any questions on pronouns? I know this is a lot, and it's probably a lot more in-depth than in your head. But we're going to do some practice. Make sure we understand. So go ahead and underline for me all of the pronouns in this sentence. Just the pronouns. Now use your notes, you guys. You have your notes in front of you. I want you to use them, okay? All of the pronouns we just listed should be on your notes. Don't get pronouns confused with adjectives. Let's try to finish in 5. How many pronouns are in this sentence? How many pronouns? What do we think? Hold it up on your fingers. Show me. You don't have to show anybody else. Just show me. 1. There is only 1 pronoun in this sentence, and I feel like it probably tripped you guys up because you were looking for way more. What is the pronoun? You see what I did there, Malachi? You see what I did there? Malachi, what's the pronoun? Yeah! What is the pronoun? Have you guys ever seen that SNL skit where it's like, who's on first, what's on second, who's on third, or something like that? It's like crazy. They like the guys' names are like who, what, and it that are playing first, second, and third base, and it's just like, oh, you gotta look it up later. It's hilarious. Anyways, I feel like that. Okay, so what? Literally, the word what is the pronoun. Bonus points. Not really, but you know, I'll think very highly of you. Who knows what kind of pronoun this is? What is the name of this pronoun? Lauren! Yes! It is an interrogative pronoun because it's used in a question. And when we interrogate someone, we question them a lot, right? Cool. Alright, try this one. I'll give you a hint. This sentence has more than 1 pronoun. That's my hint to you. Let's try to finish in 5. Okay, nice. I'm going to show you guys this one. Okay? How many pronouns do we have in this sentence? Tell me on your fingers. 2. You guys got the 2, but we added an extra one in there, and I just wanted to talk about it because you're obviously not the only one. Okay, so which one underlined up here is not a pronoun? Not a pronoun. Auburn? What is the, Auburn?
An article.
It's an article, and articles are what part of speech? Adjectives. Okay, so the is actually an adjective. Okay, it's an article, which is an adjective. So they and themselves are the 2 pronouns in this sentence. Now, this is really tricky. Can anybody get it? What kind of pronoun is they? Auburn? It's a personal pronoun. How about themselves? Who remembers? What's the name of that pronoun? Got my 2 grammar rock stars over there. They're like, we got it. Anybody else? Use your notes. Come on, you got it right in front of you. Look it up. If you don't know, look at it. Themselves. What's the name of that pronoun? Tate. Yes, you got it, Tate. It's a reflexive pronoun because it's reflecting back on the subject they. Bravo. Okay, let's try this one. Let's try to finish in 5. Oh, someone can finish. But, oh no. Okay, it looks like most of us got it. Show me on your fingers how many pronouns are in the sentence. 3. There are 3. Okay, and they are all personal pronouns. Fun fact. Okay, so they are I, it, and her. Those are our 3 pronouns in this sentence. And most of you got it, so bravo. Okay, this is our last practice. Last one. Now be careful, you might hit you. Be careful that you're only underlining the pronouns that are actually functioning as pronouns. That's what it hits. Let's finish in 5. Have you guys ever heard that song? One of these things is not like the other. Ever heard that? I don't remember what it's from. Maybe Barney? I don't know. Sesame Street, maybe? I don't know. One of those kid shows. It's like where you're picking out the thing that's not like all the other things in a lineup. Well, this applies here. One of these pronouns is not like the other because it's actually not a pronoun. Which one doesn't belong and why? Aiden, I feel like you know the answer. Do you know the answer? You sure? What do we think? I feel like I know. Yeah, do you know? So this one comes before now. Yeah, Diana! That tape. Okay, this first that. What is it? What is it? It's not a pronoun. It looks like a pronoun. Right? But what kind of pronoun is it? Who remembers the name of that pronoun? Okay? Oh, that wasn't the answer that you had ready. Tell me the answer you have ready. What is it? It's an adjective. Okay, so what kind of pronoun is it that can function as an adjective? Who remembers the name of it? Yes, there you go, Malachi. It's a possessive pronoun. Okay, so this pronoun here is actually functioning as an adjective because it's telling us what kind of cake. What's that cake? Remember, if it comes before a noun, it's most likely an adjective. So see if it answers one of your adjective questions. So this one is not actually functioning as a pronoun. It's functioning as an adjective. So we would not have wanted to underline that. Okay? But these ones, these are adjectives. This is an adjective. Ooh, this one's good. Who remembers what the name of this adjective is? Everyone. If it ends in one body or thing, it is what kind of pronoun? Yes, Lauren. Indefinite. It is not definite, right? It's not referring to a specific person, place, or thing. So that is an indefinite pronoun. Bravo, you guys. You did very, very well. Ask me any questions you have so far. If you don't have any, you can just log off, close your Chromebook, and pull out your homework. Yes, Jacob?
I didn't use the blank for demonstrative.
Demonstrative?
Yeah.
I don't remember what the blank was. These, that, and those. Okay, for your homework today, you guys, you are completing that packet that you guys picked up from the back cube. So I want you to pull it out and I want you to get started on it. Remember, you're only doing the even numbers. Okay, so if you have to like go and circle all the even numbers or cross out the odd or write even numbers. Now, if you guys want to do them all for extra practice, by all means, go ahead and do it. Okay, but for grading purposes, I'm only looking at the even numbers. And I want you guys to get started on it. So if you have questions as you're working, you can come ask me. I will be here after school today and before school tomorrow. It's hard to ask grammar questions via email, so if you do have questions on your homework, please just come in person and ask me, okay?